Are we really doing this?
Yeah, we're on.
Guess we're doing it. Hey, it's Andrew here at Time+Tide. In the spirit of a few videos lately, which have done very well and been way more fun than usual, we're going to do a behind-the-scenesy type video on the Zenith Chronomaster Sport and what it's been like to own it and wear it for 6 months. Yes, I have been that lucky. And here's the concept. I've asked the team to write 6 questions, one for every month I've had the watch, and put it in a little box. I have no idea what's in here. I genuinely don't. They said, hey, do you want to just rehearse this with us? And I said, no, we're not going to rehearse it. We're going to do it legit. So I have my calipers, my digital calipers. I have a glass of gin, 4 Pillars gin. I don't know why I have that. I don't need that. I don't need Dutch courage for this mission. And I have a box full of questions. So should we start? Before we do, what are you wearing? Because it's clear what I am. What are you wearing today? Tell us in the comments. I always love just hearing random watch stuff from you guys. Thank you very much. Let's get started. Let's open the box. Can we do some post on a sound? Question 1. Could it be a daily wear? You see, that's a good question. The answer to this is in 2 parts. 1, yes it could, simply because it's very comfortable and it pairs with everything. In terms of what does it go with clothing-wise, I have found that because there's a little bit of color in there's a little bit of blue, a bit of gray. Someone's called the 9 subdial a ghost subdial because it's that really nice pale gray. I found that it's the most versatile watch in terms of color and compatibility. But the part of it that may not make it a daily wearer is the height. It is 13.6 millimeters high in terms of the case profile, which is actually very high. It's disguised really well because Romain, the head of product at Zenith, is obsessed with fit and with ergonomics. So for a watch that raises quite high off the wrist, it wears very well, but it is high. I would say that it's a mil or 2 above what I'd usually recommend for a daily wearer. Right, number 2. Is it true love? It is, for me, it is true love. And look, someone in this team has accused me very often of not giving other watches in my collection much oxygen since I've had this. Why is that the case? Because maybe it is true love. The answer is probably yes. It's just a watch I always want to wear. I love it. Number 3. What surprised you most about it? That is a very good question, and we love that topic on Time+Tide. 5 things that surprised us about. The thing that surprises me most about the Chronomaster Sport, wearing it a lot, is that the dial always has something for you. Just yesterday on Instagram, or was it the day before? I can't remember. 2 days ago maybe, or yesterday, I posted an Instagram video about the dial in a certain lighting condition. It just never stops giving. I was walking down my driveway. There was a tree overhead, and then the sun broke through the clouds and came down onto the dial, filtered through the tree. And it just gave me yet another new visage of how this dial can play with the light. The finishing of the indexes, the finishing of the hands and the star, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So what surprised me most about it is how different the high level of finishing makes the experience. Let me count through the Rolexes I've had. I've had a Rolex Submariner pre-COSC. I've had a Rolex Submariner GMT Master 2 Batman. I've had a GMT Master 2 Root Beer. I've had a Yachtmaster. None of them have had the level of finishing that this watch has in terms of the way that the dial elements catch the light. So it's Grand Seiko-esque, and that is the thing that surprised me most, is that we mentioned that in the first review, that the level of finishing is superior to a Rolex. It hits you all the time, it hits you in different ways. That's the most surprising thing. Number 4, putting the watch back on. Okay, 1 for every month, I love this. Have you ever used the chrono function? No, the answer is no. The chrono function, I don't really understand how you would ever use a 1/10 of a second chronograph. Have I tell a lie. Yes, I've used it. I've used it to show people how cool a 1/10 of a second chronograph looks when it sort of spider jumps its way around the dial. But I don't, Romain, Zenith, how do I use a 1/10 of a second chronograph? Like, do I time my child running up and down the street? And like, if I did and I hit it now, I don't know how many seconds that is. No, I haven't used the chronograph function. I don't even understand the chronograph function. It's a good question. Thanks, Matt. Number 5. Okay, all right. Thoughts on the polished center links. Have you warmed to them? He asked this question because I was cold to them. I was dead to them. When it was sent to us before it was released, that was the moment that I called them and said, hey, I have some issues with this watch, but I still would like to be the first person in Australia to have it on my wrist. Which was a contradictory message because the issues were obviously not very big. But the issue I had was that the polished center links, to me, poked the bear. Because when you look at this from a distance, just put yourself in the mind frame of an ignoramus. Put yourself in the position of someone who knows nothing about watches, and you look at this from where you're sitting. You might say, hey, is that a Rolex date? No, it's not. But the polished center links really rams home the idea that it could be because it just looks so much like a Rolex Oyster bracelet. So, have I warmed to them? I haven't warmed to them, but am I as cold to them as I was having had it for a while? I'm not, and I'll tell you why. I raised again this question of the bracelet with Romain, the designer of this watch, on a Zoom call last week, and he said, Andrew, do you think we didn't try lots and lots of other options? This was the best one. So he's made me second guess my coldness, but I still kind of want to see it satin brushed. Stay tuned. Last question. This one's folded up differently. Why? Things you would change, if anything. All right, so I think that we've thoroughly gone through the bracelet quibbles. We've gone through the 1/10 of a second confusion. Aside from that, look, I would like to see 1 to 1.5 millimeters shaved off the height, but that's being really greedy. Because when we talk about the difference in, and this is how contradictory and paradoxical a person I am. Why didn't I order a Daytona when I handled one in Basel way back in whatever it was, 2016? I found it too slim. I found it too effeminate, which is a reflection of my insecure masculinity. I didn't like how well it wore and how slim it was. So the 2016 Andrew was basically asking Rolex to make this watch. And the 2021 Andrew now is more secure in his masculinity, is now seeking a 30mm Cartier tank so I can be like Muhammad Ali. I'm more comfortable with a slimmer watch, and strangely enough, I would like this one a tiny bit slimmer. That is asking for a lot, because when you take this bad girl off and you look in that case back and you see that 1/10 of a second movement, it's pretty clear that the real estate back there, it ain't exactly gonna slim down easily. Therefore, I really wouldn't change much at all. I think it's a perfectly executed watch. I think there's a reason there's a waiting list for this watch. I think there's a reason that this watch has 140,000 views on our YouTube channel this year, by far more than any other video. It's pretty close to perfect. So thank you for the questions, team. They were difficult to answer, but this was fun. I don't know, should we do it again? We're always trying new things at Time+Tide. I'm putting everything back in the box. I am going to wait for this to go live, and I'm going to be sitting there in the comments waiting to see what you think of it, and I'll be answering it. I'll be seeing what you're wearing too. Thanks for watching. Thanks for having some fun with us. Stay tuned to Time+Tide for more spontaneity and watch content. Bye.